ages ago, the goddess Hylia created a legendary sword, and within that sword, she created a spirit whose job it was to help the goddess's chosen hero succeed in fulfilling his destiny. That spirit was known as Fi, who has now awoken to help stave off the forces of darkness before returning to her slumber once more. Fi's style of combat has more in common with ballet than it does with typical swordplay. With acrobatic grace, Fi dances through the battlefield with ease, and learning to overcome her incredible momentum will certainly increase your percentage of success. Fi's standard attack string consists of 7 total attacks. However, in practice, Fi will be spinning and striking so much that it can be hard to count them all. Fi will first spin kick, follow up with more spins, gracefully jump forward and land on one leg, do a vertical split kick, kick 2 more times, and then launch into a longer spin which finishes off with a big area blast. The amount of distance forward that Fi travels during this attack string is ridiculous. Easily the farthest in the game, and actually about twice as far as Link's opponent. This means that unless you just kind of walk into it, it's actually really difficult for most melee enemies to get a hit on you. However, the downside of this is that Fi can also be a little bit of a pain to rein in. The only way that she can really focus on single targets with this is to just run laps around them. Something that if you are not careful with, will see you spending most of your attack string dancing at and attacking nothing but the air. Fortunately, Fi can dodge cancel out at almost any moment in this very long string if you see that you've gone astray. And due to how wild Fi's dancing can get, this will tend to happen quite a lot. At the same time that Fi struggles with focus targeting, her circular kicks and rapid movement do an amazing job when it comes to clearing out the trash enemies, which are very easy targets for her. And this is something which also plays into her heavy attack mechanic. When pressing heavy attack as Fi, she will briefly turn into her sword form and charge up, just like when Link holds the goddess sword up to ready the skyward strike. You will notice that after Fi does this, her charge bar will go full and then slowly start to drain. During this time, which lasts for approximately 20 seconds, Fi is given the light element status to all of her attacks. It's worth saying that unlike Sia's dark equivalent, being in this enhanced state will not make you immune to stuns or other statuses, but it does greatly add to the damage that Fi can put out, and in a way this status is also used to make up for her relative weakness at taking on single strong targets. For every other light element character, they have to accumulate some hits against groups in order to activate the light element damage buff, and sustain it from there in order to keep it going. However, Fi is a bit different in that she can activate this at any time, even if there aren't a lot of enemies nearby to attack in order to ready it. Just don't forget to turn it on when you need to have that buff damage. Whereas Fi's standard strikes are all about forward momentum, almost all of her combos are focused on doing more stationary area damage. Her first combo has her turn into a sword and swing upwards, knocking her opponents into the air. Once she is finished, she will turn back to her body form, from where you can do either a standard attack where she will do a single spin kick upward, or a heavy attack where she will dive back down to the ground. You can also do one of each, although the timing on the heavy attack has to be rather precise. There's really not a lot more to say about this combo. It can be used to lengthen an officer's weak point gauge, but at the same time Fi isn't really great at doing any kind of mid-air juggling, so it's not something that I use a lot. Next up, Fi's second combo has her create a nearby rainbow, which gathers enemies in, before forming a flower shape that creates a small upwards explosion. Enemies that are first caught by this rainbow are stunned and usually trapped until the explosion at the end. However, in certain situations, this attack can leave you a sitting duck, so you need to be very careful when you decide to use it. Fi's third combo is an extremely quick dash forward with the Loftwing design in front of her. Being relatively early in her combo string, this is one of Fi's best way to get to enemies and rack up kills, or just to dash through entire groups with ease. Fi's fourth combo is a relatively simple flying spin upwards with a light explosion. However, from the air, you can then do the same follow-up attacks as she could from her first combo. This attack has a similar area of effect as her second combo, except without the initial stun effect. Fi's fifth and final combo has her summon in the powers of Din, Nehru, and Furore for a big spinning slash. This attack hits for a lot of damage, and although it will rarely knock out a boss's weak point gauge in one go, it is your best option in those situations. Almost every attack by Fi, including her Force Special and Weak Point Break attack, is made to hit as many enemies as possible. As long as you are keeping Fi charged up with her light status, she can reach her potential as a great area attacker. However, even though her light charge allows her to gain a small damage boost against more powerful targets, such as bosses or officers, you'll have to be constantly fighting against her tendency to dance right past them. While having her light damage buff being able to be activated at any time is a really interesting mechanic, it is mostly wasted on Fi. She really does not need this mechanic slowing her down. Unfortunately, when it comes to stacking her up to the rest of the cast, this is a crippling disadvantage, and it's not something that Fi needed on top of her overly slippery controls. When I'm rating a character, it doesn't actually matter if a character is area focused or officer focused. The most important thing for them to have is control. In the cases where a character is designed around having less control, such as in Link's Great Fairy, they should have their damage boosted to make up for it, something which Fi, even in her light status, does not possess.
While Fi is rather good at gathering lots of KOs, using her in one-on-ones is pretty awkward because she almost has too much mobility for her own good. People seem to either love or hate playing as Fi, and although I find her fun, I would end up putting her in the lower part of the roster overall.
Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video and you'd like to see more, please like, comment below, and subscribe. Also, be sure to check out my second channel, GamesBrain Plays, for group and solo Let's Play content. Thanks again for watching, everybody. Until next time, this has been GamesBrained, and I hope you take care.